What's up, you guys? It's Lo, Beauty Demon here, and I'm back with another drama video with you today, kind of recapping what has been going on with James Charles. We've already had two other James Charles videos where we talked about his allegations and what's going on with him, but we do have an update to it. Morphe, of course, we know they dropped him, and now YouTube has officially demonetized him, so I wanted to talk about that. And I also wanted to talk about the new Jeffree Star video about him and his bestie, Daniel Lucas, because I have a little bit of a, might be considered a hot take, and a little bit of like extra information because I kind of know I'm like a little bit not in real life, but like, anyway. So first I wanted to talk about the James Charles demonetization. So people had been speculating for a little bit that he'd been demonetized. A few people had been reporting on it just by going to a social blade, seeing that he wasn't making any money off videos, and then some people were going to his channel and seeing that there were not any ads at all. I personally didn't care that much to go and check, to be totally honest with you, and I have premium, so I don't get ads anyway. So in order to check something like that, I would just have to do an extra go around of doing an incognito window and signing into YouTube and then searching James Charles and going through videos, and I just didn't want to do that. I did not want to sit through any James Charles videos. So I was just going to wait until an official spoke out, till maybe YouTube made a statement. I didn't expect James Charles to make a statement, because why would he make another statement, especially about YouTube demonetizing him? So the statement ended up coming from Kat Tenbarge from Insider. She did say that YouTube confirmed in a tweet, she said, YouTube confirmed to me that James Charles is demonetized following his sexting scandal. They used the creator responsibility policy that they had used with David Dobrik just recently, Shane Dawson, and Onision as well. So they did say that it is a temporary removal from the partner program. They didn't say how long it was going to be. But, you know, a lot of people had been noticing that the ads had been removed. Now, the other interesting thing, let me find it. Kat Tenbarge tweeted something else that I really agree with. And she said, as many others have pointed out, it doesn't really make for meaningful change when YouTube demonetizes celebrity content creators on a temporary basis after most of them have already said they're going to be taking a long break, which is totally true. Everybody they have done this to is like, I'm going to be taking a step back to learn about myself and to really assess the situation, to know, like, you know, how to be a better person moving forward. It's really not that hard to be a better person. It's just, I don't know. Maybe I'm the only one not on the struggle bus here for not being shitty. So, and then she goes on to say, they're not really being significantly impacted by demonetization. It's not even just a punishment. It's just an overdue YouTube PR move. And that is 100% what this is. Do I think that it even will hurt James Charles in the long run? No. It'll be a couple $100,000 out of his pocket maybe, but he already makes a ton of money if he was smart, which he claims to be in many ways anyway, in terms of business and hopefully investments for his case, because he would be set for life. Like, he did just spend a lot of money on a home. I'm sure he's already paid that all, paid it in cash. But I don't need to know anything about James Charles' money. I don't need to know anything about anybody's money. But as of right now, YouTube has demonetized him. Who knows when they're gonna remonetize him? My speculations is that he'll probably come back around maybe in Christmas time, because I also, I think originally he was probably trying to launch his makeup around Christmas, because he just got all of his trademarks and everything, so it would take time to get that all set and ready to go. It would take a few months. Perfect time to drop makeup. But that is just my opinion. I didn't say this at the beginning of the video, so I hope it doesn't... But everything in here is my opinion as well. So other than the demonetization thing, which is true, everything else is opinion. So the next thing I'm going to go into, which is also purely my opinion and speculation, kind of touching on what we're talking about with money and stuff, and that is Jeffree Star did a video with his friend Daniel Lucas about Daniel's struggles with cancer. Now, Daniel is a old bestie of Jeffree Star's from way back in the day. I remember them on MySpace. I think he used to go as Daniel Hilton was kind of his thing because Paris Hilton was super hot and all that stuff. So I do remember them like on Warped Tour, MySpace, stuff like that. I'm an old MySpace person, so I remember everything. And I did say at the beginning of this video, I like kind of know Daniel, but not really. I don't know him in real life, but we are about as close as somebody can be in social media friendship, and that is we are Facebook friends. I'm old. I don't use my Facebook anymore, but we are still friends, and it was never like we message and stuff, but we would comment on each other's posts and things like that. We became Facebook friends through a love of makeup and drag, because Daniel did talk about this in the video. He lived in Vegas, he was doing drag, he was a makeup artist, and he was Britney Spears' makeup artist, actually. And he did have a daytime job working some makeup counter, I believe. Sorry if you're hearing noise too, because I'm not editing this video, so you're going to hear background things. Anyway, so Daniel and I became friends on Facebook in like late 2016. So before he got diagnosed or anything. At that point in time, he and Jeffree Star were not friends. I don't know why they weren't friends. I don't know how long they hadn't been friends, but they were not on speaking terms. Sometimes people maybe asked him questions about it, and he just would kind of brush it off and say, like, look, I'm not talking about it. He's not my friend. I'm not here to do any of that. Mostly, anytime he and I interacted, it was about Real Housewives, other reality TV, Drag Race, or actually WWE. We both like wrestling. So that's like a weird fact. So that was like the extent of it. I do remember him making lots of posts about his declining health. Everything that he talked about in the video, I remember it happening along that timeline. As his stuff and health issues progressed more and more, and then eventually he did get a cancer diagnosis, I began to limit the posts that I saw from him just because I felt like it was really invasive of me, somebody who doesn't actually know him personally, to be getting like those kind of health updates. So I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna, be like privy to all of this stuff. It was around this time though that I did see that he and Jeffree had reconnected, and this was like, I don't know, 2018 maybe. So I wasn't really super involved with like YouTube. I knew who Jeffree Star was obviously because of MySpace days, and that he already had his makeup line out. I had a couple of the lipsticks. They're still up there for nostalgia purposes. But I didn't really know like drama and things like that. I don't know if there was like a lot of Jeffree Star drama happening at that point. I don't know. But I thought it was really nice that these two friends had reconnected, and Jeffree was sending him makeup. So as somebody who was not feeling good and was battling a lot of really scary stuff, I thought it probably feels pretty nice to have like an old friend come back into your life, and hey, they're sending you free makeup so that you can play with and create these fun looks and things. Since, you know, as somebody who was creative and would, you know, paint their face, he did a lot of really cool drag. He didn't get to do that kind of stuff anymore, so it was a good creative outlet. So all that aside, you know, I know all of that to be true because I did see all of that stuff like happening, and I'm really glad that he finally beat cancer. I know it's been a long road for him. So what I've been seeing on Twitter, though, is kind of crazy. People kind of are making like assumptions. Well, let me backtrack a little bit, because the day that they dropped that video, there's cat hair all over my house. The day that they dropped that video, Jeffree and Daniel were in a horrific car accident. Jeffree rolled his Rolls Royce. It's like a tongue twister, like a theater warm-up. And they rolled it 3 times, sending them both to the hospital. Jeffree Star broke his back and probably suffered some like other minor injuries too. I mean, like cuts, scrapes, bruises, things like that. A lot of like soreness. Now, Daniel, because he has just finished chemo, and he does have a colostomy bag too, which he talks about in the video. he is a lot more medically fragile than Jeffree is. So he did have a lot more, or does still have rather, a lot more issues. I think he talked about internal bleeding. So he is having surgery. He's been posting about it on his Facebook. I don't want to go too into that because I don't know what he actually wants public and everything. I haven't checked his Instagram. I do follow him there too, so I don't know like what he's been putting there. But I know he did fly to, I think initially he did fly to Nevada to get his surgery. That's where he lives, is Los Angeles. So because he's in this accident, he's got a lot of medical expenses, and Daniel's always had, you know, a lot of medical expenses when you're dealing with cancer. It is a very expensive thing. And health insurance in America is flat out fucking garbage. If you are an American, you already know exactly what I'm talking about. And if you are not from America, you're like, what's going on over there? Why are you a third world, first world country when it comes to healthcare and a lot of other things? So I've always known that he has struggled with payments and stuff like that. And he's had a GoFundMe, and I think I've even donated to a GoFundMe like way back a long time ago when he like got his first diagnosis. Because, I mean, he struggles a lot. He needs things like disability, and the previous employment that he had really would drop the ball on that sort of stuff a lot with him. So it was really hard. Now, because of the rollover, he has to have a lot of emergency surgery, and he needs a lot more income. He hasn't really been able to work to pay for the surgery. Now, a lot of people are saying, well, Jeffree Star is a millionaire. Why doesn't he pay for this surgery? Like, that's his best friend. He, in the video, took him to go get Botox. He flies him on a private jet. He gives him Louis Vuitton bathrobes. He does all this stuff and gives him all this material things. Why doesn't he pay for his medical expenses for the surgery he needs? And that's kind of like what everybody's saying on Twitter, and people are almost attacking Jeffree Star and Daniel for that. And my take is, I don't really think it's our place to be telling somebody that they need to be paying for somebody's medical expenses. Like, if Daniel really felt like Jeffree needed to pay for his medical expenses for the car rollover, he would be taking Jeffree Star to court. I mean, I don't think anybody, especially, you know, somebody who is already struggling to pay medical bills, could take Jeffree Star to court, but you could do it. And Daniel's even said in his, you know, himself on a Facebook post that it's absolutely ridiculous for people to just think that because he and Jeffree are friends that Jeffree is going to give him everything and pay for these expenses. That's not what friends are. And I completely agree. I don't think we should be expecting our friends, if they have more money, to be paying our medical bills and things like that. To me, there's a difference between frivolous things like, oh, you already have a private jet, I'll just hop on because you already own it. Or things like Botox. Like, yeah, that's, you know, medical, but it's a cosmetic, not surgery, but it's a cosmetic procedure. There's a difference between like a cosmetic procedure and an actual life or death surgery. And yes, that life or death surgery is more important than the cosmetic procedure, but I don't know if I would feel comfortable with having my friend pay for this life-saving procedure personally, because then I would feel like I'm indebted to them, and my life is, you know, theirs now. And maybe Daniel doesn't want that from him. You know, we don't know. Jeffree could have been offering the support and money and financial things, and maybe in the past he has even helped Daniel with other stuff, but Daniel says, no, you've helped me too much with that sort of stuff. We don't know the full extent of it. Because, yeah, in the beginning, I felt the same way as Twitter. I was like, what the fuck? This guy's a billionaire. He should be paying for his expenses. But who am I to tell somebody what they should and should be doing with their money? Especially when the person who would be the recipient is like, I don't want them to be giving me money. I don't want that. So I feel like this is just not really our place for that. Sure, if Daniel was his, you know, his boyfriend or his partner or a family member or something, I would be a little more like, hey, why don't you pay for your boyfriend to, you know, not die? But it's just not really our place to tell people exactly how to spend their money. And Jeffree does have a mother who he says, you know, is in really poor health, and a grandmother who is, I don't know, she's like 100 or something. Her age changes all the time, so I have no idea. She's between the age of 85 and 100, which is, you know, a good 15 years, but she's somewhere in there. But anyway, he's dealing with both of them, and he's got like 8 dogs. Like, those are expensive. All of that healthcare. Ugh, not to mention himself. So I think it's a little much for us, the public, to be expecting him to pay for his friend's medical expenses when his friend has also said, like, I don't want him paying for my medical expenses. And Daniel's right in the sense that that's not what a friendship is. Like, I'm married to my husband, and I would feel weird if he paid for a surgery for me that I needed. Like, I would feel really strange about that. And I'm married to the man. So that's kind of how I feel about that. It's, I think, a little bit of a hot take because it's the exact opposite of what everybody's thinking. And I'll be honest, like I said, the first I was on the same boat with everybody, but then I started looking at it. And then, oddly enough, I thought about MC Hammer. And if you don't know who MC Hammer is, he's a Too Legit to Quit guy from like the early 90s. He was a rapper. He was huge. He was making millions of dollars. And he actually filed bankruptcy because he literally helped every person in his life out. He gave all of his money to his friends and family, and they just spent it willy-nilly, like it was never going to end, like he was a never-ending cash flow. So I think in that sense, like, you do have to be smart and not just do all of this for everybody, because also, if he's doing this kind of stuff for Daniel, what is he going to be expected to do for Hair by Jay? So I just don't think we should be pushing that kind of narrative per se. However, I will say that it is kind of interesting that Daniel is coming back to the forefront because he's been gone for so long, and his social media presence was there, but it wasn't as big as what it was back in the MySpace heyday when he was friends with Jeffree Star. Watching this video and watching Jeffree interact and kind of like bounce off somebody, I feel like Jeffree is better when he has somebody else to bounce off and work with. He's not that as entertaining when it's just him by himself. And he lost a lot when he and Nate split up because it kind of humanized him a little bit. And once again, it gave him a lot to play and bounce off of. Even if Nate wasn't like in the video, he could still be referencing him. He also bounces off his camera guy, stuff like that. So I think having Daniel nice and healthy and feeling good and wanting to be in front of the camera also benefits Jeffree in a way by humanizing him a little more, because watching the video, it was very touching, but then I also would have to continuously remind myself, like, oh yeah, this guy's kind of an asshole. So that is my video for you today. If you watched to the end, thank you so much. And if you are here for true crime videos, sorry this wasn't one, but I am almost done with my research for my next one, and I should be filming it this week, getting it up for you guys next week. With that, I will leave you. Have a good evening or day or afternoon, wherever you are. It's really late where I am. It's like 9 o'clock or something. This video might be a little bit gibberishy because I had a really long day. But I wanted to get this all out, so blah, there you go. And I will see you guys next time. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you liked the video and you liked me. I'll see you guys later. Bye.